All right, here we go. We're going to do some more graphs. I know you're thrilled. So, once again, to do a parametric equation graph, just plug in t, find your x, find your y. Pay attention to the parameters they set, so t has to be greater than or equal to 0. Now, since both of these have square root of t, it might be worth our while to pick perfect squares. So rather than doing a 2 for t, I might choose 4 and then 9, and let's just try from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in 0. So 1 plus the square root of 0 is 1. 1 plus the square root of 1 is 2. 1 plus the square root of 4 is 3. And 1 plus the square root of 9 is 4. Well, that was easy. So, and then this one we'll do 2 times the square root of 0 is 0. 2 times the square root of 1 is 2. 2 times the square root of 2 is 4. 2 times the square root of 3 is 6. Also fairly easy. All right, so now we focus on this section and we're going to graph those. So we've got 1, 0. It's my starting point, so I like to highlight that so I remember the direction. We've got 2, 2. 3, 4. 4, 6. Interesting. I don't know if you notice. Interesting. I know that's some of your favorite, it's like your favorite word. I always say it. So this looks just like a straight line. Let's verify to see if that's really what we get when we convert. In fact, when we convert, rather than solving for t, I'm actually just going to solve for the square root of t, because both of them have the square root of t, so I can still use a substitution that way. So if I solve for the square root of t, I get the square root of t is x minus 1. I can plug this x minus 1 in for the square root of t. So we got y, so I'm putting it in here. Y is equal to 2 times x minus 1, or y is 2x minus 2. So once again, notice how the x, or this actually is a line which follows suit with this graph. I guess I should have been saying this, but technically we really should be stating the restriction on this too. I'm not going to be picky on your homework, I'm being honest. It's not going to be a problem for me. But technically, since x has to be greater than or equal to 1, that should be a statement we make, which I didn't do on the other two. I just thought about it. All right, let's do one more. Seems great. All right, notice there are no restrictions, so we're not going to have any restrictions on ours either. So t can be whatever we want, which is nice, but also sometimes not nice. So what I suggest in these cases is I pick a couple negatives. I always put 0 in and then a couple positives. Usually you see enough. If not, you just keep going. Okay, let's start with x. So you're just going to go ahead and find each one of these. So 2 times negative 2 squared is 8 minus 1 is 7. This will be a positive 1. 2 times 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Then we'll have a positive 1 again and a positive 7. Okay, let's do the t plus 2. This will be a lot easier. So we'll get 0, then we'll get 1, then 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I've plugged it all in to my two equations. Let's plot this, taking note of one of our starting points. So it's not really a starting point, but just so we can kind of see the direction of the graph. So we've got 7, 0. So I'm just going to highlight that I know I'm kind of starting right there. I've got 1, 1. I've got negative 1, positive 2. Amazing. It's just like a miracle. We've got 1, 3. And then we've got 7, 4. If I can count. Wow, so good. All right. So that tells us our graph is going this direction and looping around. And we're just going to go ahead and indicate that this goes on and on and on like so, the direction. Kind of fun. Let's go ahead and figure out the rectangular coordinate. I don't know why I haven't been doing this whole time. But let's actually use the y this time. We've been traditionally using the x, but this y is so much easier. So t is going to be the same thing as y minus 2. So we can just do a substitution by putting y minus 2 in for t. So x is equal to 2 times y minus 2, that quantity squared, minus 1. Now, in this case, if you have something squared like that, I don't ever need you to FOIL those. Don't feel like you need to FOIL them. You can just go ahead and keep your answer just like